Yo, this is Igor, and I'm doing another review of this really cool raspberry blue raspberry mic. So it looks like this. It's really neat. It's a USB microphone, and as you can see here, just so you know, it's a real review, and I really use it. You can see that. Hopefully, you can see it. That I purchased it in May 23rd, 2020. It's actually the second one I purchased because I got one for a friend. The one I got for myself, I actually purchased it several years ago and I've been using it ever since. Now, the reason I purchased it in the first place, the reason I felt I needed a really good microphone, something like the Raspberry, is because I am a professional marketer. Like, I actually do this stuff for a living. Record content, I record videos, webinars, and specifically, the reason I got this microphone is to record podcasts with it. Now, the reason I got it for the podcast is because it came recommended in an online article as the microphone that's best used for mobility. You see, most podcast hosts, they use these big fluffy microphones that they mount on their desks, and usually what they do, they will set themselves up in like a closet or something, and they'll basically have this mic pointing into their face, and they'll be really close to the mic like that, and they'll be recording the podcast episode. Or YouTubers, streamers, they do all the same thing. And usually these microphones, of course, cost a lot of money, and they require you to record it from the exact same spot every single time. Now, I'm a father of two, and I prefer to work, for the most part, out of coffee shops and pretty much just different locations. Sometimes I'll travel, and so I'll need to record out of my hotel room. Sometimes I work from this basement, of course. That's a more recent a workplace of mine. But point being is that even if I'm at home, I might be recording on this little desk right here in my little corner. I might be recording out of my bedroom. I might be recording out of on my kitchen table. It could be anywhere. And so what I wanted a high quality microphone that would allow me to be able to record from any location, regardless of whether or not I'm able to mount a giant, microphone on the desk or the table I was sitting on. And so this microphone, the Raspberry, came in recommended for someone like me, and it's a USB mic. Therefore, I can connect it to any device. It also has a cable to connect it to your phone, so you can record it from your phone. And I gotta say, it's just freaking amazing. If I could give it 10 stars out of 5, I would. It's super reliable. It always records in the same way, in the same level. I never have to tweak it or play with it. It also has this little dial right here on the side, the one with the microphone icon. And so what this dial does, it actually allows you to either increase or decrease the amp. So if you're recording from and you're sitting far away from it, right? So if you're like this close to it, that's close, right? But if you're like a little bit further away, you can actually increase the amp, and it will pick up on your voice a lot. Like, it'll be more sensitive to pick up on your voice. So that's pretty cool. It also allows me to record in bigger spaces like the one I'm in right now without having a ridiculously large echo, by lowering the amp and just getting the mic real close to my mouth. Like, if I'm like sitting at this desk, for instance, and I'm recording something, I'll put the microphone right here, right in front of my laptop, and I can do a whole webinar or a podcast episode just sitting at my desk, just like that. Like, I don't need any special setup. I don't need to look at it. I don't need to get super close to it like this. It just it's very comfortable. It allows me to do my recording. And again, I record a ton of content. I'm talking hours and hours of content every single week, of all kinds. So this is amazing. Like, this is seriously good stuff. And I think for the price it's being sold, which is quite expensive for most people, I'd say, to pay somewhere in the range of $250 or $220 for a microphone, it's more than worth it. It's more than worth it for people who want to record with high quality sound, but at the same time not be tied to any particular location. So if you're traveling, if you're working out of shared office spaces like WeWork, right? If you are not set on a single location, which there's tons of people out there like that, if you can't afford to set up a studio for yourself, and you need something mobile, something that would only require either your phone or your laptop to do the recording, this is it. The Raspberry is for you, seriously. The only drawback I'd say is that I don't think it has any sort of built-in noise suppression or de-essing or anything like that. So if you move it when you record, there's going to be bumps and spikes. So that's not really cool. Like, I wish they add a feature to maybe suppress all that stuff. So whenever you're recording, whatever you do, don't move it. That's my advice to you. Just don't move it. But other than that, it's really compact. It goes into any backpack, into any side pocket. It can even go into your pocket if you have big enough pockets. Honestly, it's just one of the single best investments I've made. And I actually purchased it several years ago when I was still living in a different country. So I moved countries with this microphone, and I was able to start recording content the next day after I moved out of someone's dining room. So I was living at someone else's place while I was getting settled, and I was recording out of their dining room that is not equipped as a studio, and still I was able to maintain my podcast and have my podcast being produced. Now, another thing that's worth mentioning is that when you record with this microphone, and specifically, I don't know if this is the same for Windows, but I'm using this Raspberry mic and I'm using a MacBook Pro. So I'm not sure if it's the same for other computer devices. But when you record using these two devices, you can produce a high quality audio file, and that file will be editable by a podcast producer, an audio producer, or any kind of person that produces media. They'll be able to play with it and work it so to make you sound even better. Which means, sometimes some microphones, when you record, the output is so crappy as far as file quality that there's nothing that the producer can do about it. But this microphone actually records in a really good way, so the producer can work with it even if you mess up on the recording. So that's really cool. I really, really liked it. So anyway, this microphone for me gets a 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, it's a single best microphone for anyone who needs to record lots of content while not being stationary or not being tied to a particular location. So if you're a nomad entrepreneur, if you are doing the RV lifestyle, if you are recording outside, right? If you go and you record outside, seriously, take this and you'd be amazed at how clear and clean your sound's going to be in spite of being outside and having the wind there blowing and having the birds chirping. It's just going to be insane. You're going to seriously be impressed. So I recommend you get it. I recommend you get the Raspberry Blue. Seriously, just one of the best investments I've ever made. Bye.